Hi, welcome to this weekend bonus reading. So one of my viewers, Pauline, has asked me to do a reading that involves animal spirit guides, okay? So what we're going to be looking at today is animal spirit messages and what they have for you, okay? This is going to be a very general reading. You're going to have to apply it to whatever issue that you have in your life that you want guidance about. So, before we begin, think about what area of your life you want guidance about, or if you'd just like to have guidance in general, okay? Now, the animals that we're going to get, some of them might be your spirit animal or your totem animal, okay? Some of them might just be animals that are coming into your life for just a brief moment to give you some insight, okay? So I don't want you to take it too seriously in that usually our spirit animals are revealed to us, okay? It's usually a very powerful bond, okay? From what I've experienced myself and the way that I have heard it expressed from other people. Okay, so let's go ahead and name the piles. Pile number 1 is the panda bear. Pile number 2 is the wolf. Pile number 3 is the rabbit. Pile number 4 is the chimp. Pile number 5 is the giraffe, and pile number 6 is the deer, okay? So while you guys are focusing on your pile, and hopefully focusing on a topic or maybe just a general, I do want to say that if you would like a more specific private reading with me, you can go ahead and order that from the description below, okay guys? And if you have anything that you'd like to tell me, or, you know, if you'd like to suggest a reading yourself, you can either do that in comments or you can send me an email, okay? Alrighty, guys, so let's go ahead and get started with this reading, and we will find out what the animals have to tell you today, alright? And if you haven't picked your pile or your topic, go ahead and pause the video, okay? Alright, so those of you who picked the first pile, the panda bear here, alright, so here is your, we've got dragonfly, okay, so you're going to be getting some good news, okay, about your situation, okay? You are going to be experiencing some quiet time. You've got the bear, okay, so we've got the brown bear and the dragonfly here. We have a hummingbird, and this is talking about being in the moment, okay? So be in the moment, and badger. So this is also talking about being fearless. So let's kind of put this together a little bit and kind of think, you know, we've got two animals here, the hummingbird and the dragonfly, that kind of flit through the air, right? So this lets me know that you're going to get some kind of message, and that it's going to be coming pretty quickly, okay? Because both of these animals can move very quickly, okay? The hummingbird is more about there's a little bit of luck involved, and again, the message from this card is being here in the now, okay? So being here in the now is going to be really important. This, you know, when you combine that message with quiet time and the bear, it's like you've got to be really, you know, kind of go within a little bit and think about, you know, just really reflect on some of the different elements, you know, involved in your situation, or just quiet your mind, okay, and experience that just being present, okay? Now, this is a timeless reading, but for those of you who are watching when this video goes up, right now the bear is in hibernation. And I think that it's important to mention that. So if you're watching during the summer, the message still applies that that, you know, this is a time to kind of go within, go inside, not go out so much, and you know, that kind of thing. When we have badger spirit with this kind of, you know, going within, it's like once you do get it though, once your mind rests on what it needs in order to move forward, definitely do it like fearlessly and boldly, okay? You don't have to worry. Once you've received that guidance, you will be fine moving ahead. So if you're on the fence about making a decision or taking action about something, this card is saying go ahead and do it. Do it, and don't be like, don't apologize for it or anything. This is you. You've got to do this thing for whatever reason. You've got to do it. So yeah, and then again, we've got the good news coming. So this is a really positive, kind of well-rounded message. Is that we've not only have messages coming towards you. Now, I actually feel like that's from a person, not necessarily messages you get from spirit when you're like meditating, for example, that kind of thing. Oh, I just want to mention the quiet time can also refer to dream time as well. Now, while I think that you will probably get messages from spirit or your higher self or whatever you want to call it while you are being in the now and engaging in some quiet time and maybe meditating or dreaming, that kind of thing, I feel like this message that this one's talking about, it's talking about, it's really talking about more something coming from a person. Okay, guys? All right. So this looks like a really, really powerful message for you guys, and I hope that your situation is improved by thinking about that. All right, those of you who, oh no, those of you who picked pile number 2, the wolf, here is your message, and you have wolf first off, okay? So this is giving you this idea that there is some protection going on. I actually feel like this is like you've got a group of people, or at least one person that's really loyal to you that does not want to let you go, okay? And this person, if you don't know who this person or group of people is, you will find out soon, like really soon, because we've got the 1, and this, in, you know, a 1 in these kinds of readings let me know that there's something new coming, okay? We also have the horse spirit. So you've got, you know, this kind of wild side to yourself where you're free to express yourself and that kind of thing. This can be something physical that you're going to be doing, like dance, you know, something like that. This might be giving you some of you the idea that, yeah, it's okay to do that. Like you should go maybe take dance lessons or something like that. Or it could be more subtle, like you are a wild being. It's okay to embrace that id pleasure principle. Right now, you have the freedom to do that. And for others, this is gonna just let you know, don't limit yourself. You know, we put so many limitations on ourselves by having expectations of the way things should be and how things should manifest. I really feel like this message can also be talking about how, you know, when we plan things, when we say that things are going to go, you know, happen a certain way, we sometimes limit ourselves to just that. And who wants to be limited to just the best we can think of? You know, there's so much better than that we can be opened up to. So we have a little bit of a you know, atypical animal here with the flamingo spirit. You know, there in every situation, you know, there's like a yes and a no, a positive and negative, black, white, you know, you can go on and on with these different kind of, you know, these different polarities, okay? The flamingo spirit is telling us that instead of it being an either or, sometimes it's a both and, okay? Sometimes you're more in that gray place, okay? That gray, instead of white and black, it's more gray, okay? Or instead of land or sea, you're on the beach, right? Yeah, that kind of thing. This is counseling to be kind of in the in-between world there, okay? And when I think about that in-between world, I think a lot about fairy tales. I think a lot about fables, okay? Myths. I really feel like those things that take truth and, you know, fantasy and this kind of blend them, I think that there's a lot of wisdom there, okay? And I think that fairy tales and myth really do have to, you know, how, like, it's a really perfect balance between what's real and what's imagined, right? And I feel that that might be something that you guys could learn from if you want to go ahead and study, you know, anything from myth and fairy tales and fables to things like creation stories from different religions or, you know, different cultures and things like that. I just feel like there's something that's kind of like a mixture of different ideas that would appeal to you guys right now, okay? And then we also have pig spirit. So this is you know, pigs are extremely intelligent. And this is letting you know, you're very, very intelligent. And in order to be wise, wisdom is just the discerning use of the knowledge that we possess, okay? And those of us who have accumulated more knowledge have more wisdom because we can apply that, okay? So basically this is saying, and I don't mean this to be patronizing or anything, I'm just conveying the message that this card tells us, is that it's one thing to learn a lesson, okay? But it's a completely different thing to apply that lesson the next time something happens, right? So since we're talking about fairy tales, let's go ahead and use The Boy Who Cried Wolf, right? You guys have picked the wolf. The Boy Who Cried Wolf is a story of a boy that wanted to play a prank on the village, and I guess he thought it was funny or something, and he said, "Oh no, there's a wolf coming," and everybody got all upsetting, they got upset, and they came out, and they were all prepared to handle it, but there wasn't really a wolf there. He was just, kicking up some trouble, right? But he didn't learn his lesson, because a couple of weeks later he thought it would be really funny to do it again. And of course the same thing happened, right? Everybody came out, and then they were really upset because they realized that they had been pranked again and all of that kind of stuff. So using your mind wisely is about not doing things like that, because the third time he cried wolf, nobody came because they didn't believe him anymore, right? So learn from your lessons, okay? Learn from your experiences and apply that in the future, And that's what Pig Spirit's about, okay, guys? Alrighty, so you guys have a wide range of animals that are coming forward this time, And so this looks like a really positive message, okay, guys? And again, I mean, you can't get the pig spirit unless you do have that intelligence, right? Okay, those of you who picked the rabbit, let's look at your spirit animals. Okay, so right now we've got bats. That's a kind of an interesting one to get, but it has a really good message. We've got the owl, which is wisdom. We've got the koi fish spirit. And we have the white raven spirit. Okay, so this is really interesting, because normally when we think about something that's kind of dark, like bats, they come out at night and everything, one might equate that more with a black raven, not a white raven, right? But with the bats, this is letting you know that you can achieve something really amazing that maybe other people might not think possible, okay? One example might be, let's say that you want to start a YouTube channel, okay? And maybe people are like, well, I don't know, or maybe you might be saying to yourself, like, oh, I don't know if I have what it takes to do that. Well, getting this card lets us know that, no, you really can, So if you've been having some kind of creative idea going on lately, or if you've been feeling kind of discouraged, like maybe you can't actually get what you want in whatever situation you're thinking about, this is letting you know, no, you can get this. You're fine, okay? It's a little unconventional, though, just like the bats are a little unconventional for getting an animal message from, okay? But you still will be able to do that, okay? So you're going to be able to move forward. You're going to be fine. We also have the owl spirit, which is talking about wisdom, okay? And I just want to point out that with the owl, the bats, and the white raven, we're talking about movement through air, okay? And so understand that this is mental clarity will come, communication will come, okay? This is three times communication will come. And then we've got the koi fish spirit. That's also not on land. So this is kind of an otherworldly type message for you guys, in that we are creatures of the earth, right? And if we want to, for some reason, this comes up in multiple cultures in their creation myths, okay? For some reason, we think about heaven and guidance being above us, okay? And we think about the darkness and the darkness, our shadow and things like that being below us, okay? So normally in a lot of creation myths, we'll see that positive things come from above and more negative things come from below. So we have the koi fish spirits, which is talking about how, this is kind of like a a dual meaning, because you have this idea that you're kind of going, you're kind of exploring into the waters, into the depths, okay? So for some of you guys, this is gonna talk more about exploring emotions, exploring things that maybe you wouldn't normally be exploring, okay? Or exploring some deeper element of yourself or somebody else in the situation, okay? But this is also about scarcity consciousness too, the koi fish, because have you ever noticed when you go to feed fish, when you have the koi fish especially, you might toss out some, some fish food and they all just come up, and it's almost like they're fighting for it. The koi fish spirit reminds us that you do have enough, okay? That you don't have a limited amount of resources. You do have enough, and so you don't have to be so frantic about making sure that this thing's going to happen. I think that sometimes this comes about because we're so attached to a positive result, And that's very human, and that's normal, okay? There's nothing wrong with that at all. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with it. It's just that in this case, you can go ahead and keep being attached to an end result, that's fine, but just know that it's going to be okay because there's enough, okay? There's enough of whatever it is that you want. And I know that might be a little bit weird when it comes to, let's say, what you want is a relationship with a person, right? This means there's enough love for that to happen. There's enough positivity in the relationship for that to manifest, that kind of thing. So the white raven spirit's kind of a similar message. It says trust in the magic, okay? Now, magic is such an abstract thing, okay? I feel that when we get a card that mentions magic, that we're talking about the same consciousness that goes into the idea behind miracles or the idea behind manifesting, okay? So trust that you're going to manifest what you want. Trust that something really uniquely kind of poetic in the universe is going to happen, because seriously, if you look around you, the world around you, the physical world, okay, the part that's kind of supposed to be a little bit dull, there is magical things everywhere, okay? Seriously, just think about the giraffe. It's kind of weird, right? I mean, usually the platypus is the one that we think about as being weird, but giraffes look really weird. It's like, my goodness, what is it, Like, there's a lot of really improbable, magical things that happen all the time around us. So be aware of what you're putting out, because what you're putting out in this particular situation is what you're going to be getting back, okay? And also understand that, just like with the bats, okay, and just like with applying wisdom, okay, we know that something really incredible that maybe we couldn't have even thought of, or something that we don't even think we have access to, is possible, okay? So all of these cards reinforce each other, okay? So I feel like the message is very clear here that something that you probably don't think is possible is gonna prove that it is possible, okay? So don't give up on the situation, alrighty? All right, those of you who picked pile number 4, the chimp or the monkey energy here, let's see what your animal guides say. We have the turtle. Okay, we have the rabbit that talks about swift action. The turtle is talking about somebody assisting you. It's kind of interesting because we have the turtle and the hare here. We have vulture spirit. Okay, so this is, you're gonna feel like you're not gonna waste anything, okay? So this applies to energy too. Whatever energy you've been putting into a situation like this, you're not wasting your energy. And then we have peacock spirit. So this is kind of like, it's okay to kind of show off right now, all right? I feel like this, for some of you guys, is going to mean, try not to be too proud about it though, try not to give into pride, but it is okay to show how, just show how unique you are, all of your different creative energies and that kind of thing. So yeah, nothing is wasted. It's really important to know that when we put energy into a situation and when we're trying to, when we're trying to figure out, like, is this something that I should, spend my time on or not? This lets us know that you're supposed to spend some time on this, okay? Now, I really feel this is an interesting, it is an interesting thing, because this might not be necessarily what's written on the cards, but we've got the turtle and we have the hare. I understand this is a turtle, not a tortoise, okay? But given that we're talking about the mermaid and the turtle, it's just, just kind of keep that in mind, okay? We've got a turtle and we've got a hare, okay? So what that lets me know is that I think that it's okay for you to slow down, because swift action is coming from outside, okay? Because the one thing that's different between all of these is that the hare lives on land. We've got the air animals. I mean, I suppose the peacock lives on land too, but we've got like birds, and then we've got a turtle, we've got a reptile, and we've got the birds, and then we've got this very earthly creature like a rabbit. And, so I feel like for some of you guys, this is going to mean that the turtle energy is like telling you to slow down, and because something's going to happen in the situation. It's going to come from outside of you. That's only going to apply to some of you. For the rest of you, this is saying that you're going to learn from other people's experience in this particular situation, okay? So look to how other people have solved the situation. Look to somebody who might be older than you or who might have more experience than you and ask them, how did they solve this situation, or what would they do? You could even look to your higher self. You can look at it like, what would I say to a friend that's going through the situation? And once you come up with what you know to be true in the situation and what you should do in the situation, take swift action to enact that energy, okay? But I really do feel like this is a situation where you need to attract something to you, okay? And you're going to be able to attract it, okay? For those of you who are trying to attract something, you will be able to attract that, okay? And you're not wasting your time with it either, okay? In fact, I think the attraction's already there, okay? Alrighty, hopefully that made sense for you guys. Okay, so hi, pile number 5. Those of you who picked the giraffe, here is your reading. So you have hedgehog spirit, okay? So we've got like, this is something for people who it's like you have some really good friends, even if you haven't been talking to them, for a while. There's some people that you can really rely on in your life, okay? So take advantage of that, okay? We have the panther that's talking about reclaiming power, okay? Don't give too much of yourself to other people, Remember that in this, when we're talking about the friends, these are your friends supporting you, not necessarily you supporting them right now. It's okay to be a little selfish right now is kind of the message that I'm getting. Oh, how interesting. You guys picked the giraffe and we got giraffe spirit. So this is about seeing the big picture, okay? So instead of looking at each little thing that's been going on, look at the greater pattern, okay, that's been going on in the situation. I have a problem with that myself, that I'll like take one thing somebody says and I'll kind of like base the whole reality of the relationship that I have with that person on that one thing, which is absolutely ridiculous. And when I say it out loud, it sounds so dumb, right? Well, I mean, maybe not dumb, but it sounds, irrational, right? Look at the big picture instead, okay? What always happens in this situation? What tends to happen in this situation? Because I think that in your case, what tends to happen as a trend is what's going to probably happen in the situation, okay? And we have frog spirit, which is clear the clutter. Okay, so I really feel like this is, you guys might need to let go of a situation here, okay? This might be something like if you start zooming out here and start seeing a bigger picture, you'd be like, wait a minute, I don't need that, or this, or whatever. It's like, let's get down to what is essential in the situation and then deal with that, okay? And you might need your friends to help give you that perspective, okay? But the bottom line is that by getting rid of the stuff that doesn't serve you, you're reclaiming your own power, and then you're empowered to do what you need to in the situation, okay? So this could be something very abstract, like you need to get rid of a certain mindset, okay, or a certain attitude, or maybe even a certain belief. Or this could be very, very very physical, like you need to literally clean out your closet, you know, in order to get rid of this, you know, whatever's cluttering up your space, you know. It could be that you and your friends, I'm just pretending this is just an example, to kind of make a little bit more sense. It might be like, okay, you know, you're a good musician, you have a friend that's a good musician, and you're trying to figure out how can you work, you know, how can you get some gigs and that kind of stuff. And it's like, well, no, you need help from your friends. You need to form a band, and then you'll have more power because you'll have a band. And by seeing the big picture that that's what you really need, you can clean out all the clutter in your life, because it's like, well, I don't need the stuff that I would need to be a solo artist. I can now, you know, work on this with other people and that kind of thing. That's just one example, okay? I just wanted to give a concrete example because I wanted to be more clear. But yeah, this looks like really interesting. I mean, this looks like a project to me, okay? Of course, it can apply to anything, but it looks like a project, okay? So yeah, so that's your message, right? Hi, those of you who picked the deer spirit, I just want to go ahead and tell you this is the one that I would have picked. So as I'm reading this, I'm going to be kind of thinking about myself. So you'll get some, you'll definitely get some specific insight about it, because I'll apply it to some situations that I have going on. So we have Orca Magic. The Akashic libraries are open. Okay, now Orca whales are so smart. It's ridiculous how smart they are. They have a really advanced way of communicating and all of that kind of stuff. I feel like this specific situation has something to do with another person maybe in your life that you almost have like a psychic connection with, like telepathy with this person, or maybe like not just empathy, but like like an evolved kind of empathy, okay? Like, not that it's like you can put yourself in that person's shoes and like imagine what they're going through. It's like you actually go through it. This would be something like what twins would have. And just so you know, I'm talking about like actual twins, not necessarily twin flames. But what twins would have, where one of them gets sick and the other person has sympathy pains. You know, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Okay, so this is a situation that you need to be a little bit more vulnerable in, okay? I feel like you might feel like you want to kind of act a little bit tough, like, you know, you can take this, and maybe even, get to the point where you're kind of showing off to another person involved in the situation, or you're showing off to yourself that, maybe you're tougher than you are and that kind of thing. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to admit, you know what, I need some help, or you know what, I'm not doing so well, and that kind of thing. It's not going to cast you in a negative light. It's going to make you look human, because I feel like for a lot of you guys, this situation kind of makes you a little bit intimidating, because maybe a person in a situation sees you as a little bit above them, or like from a different class than them, that's better for whatever reason, and that would be their perception, okay? Not necessarily what's true, but yeah, being vulnerable is really going to open up some experiences in your situation. We do have the taking time out thing, okay? So I really feel like you have a lot of answers already. You know, with the Akashic records, you know, this doesn't necessarily mean that you have access to all of your past lives or anything like that. It just means, you know, think about the greater patterns in the universe and think about the overarching story of reincarnation and past lives and that kind of thing. And take time out to either study that or to kind of contemplate that, okay? One thing that I want to point out, and another pile got bear as well, the brown bear from a different deck, right now it's February in the northern hemisphere, so bears are hibernating right now. Okay, so regardless of if you watch this and it's the summer where you are, the message is still the same. It's like, you know, there's gonna be probably some sleep activity going on, like dreams, and maybe it's time to meditate a little bit, kind of like concentrate, meditate, loosen yourself up, get more, go within, that kind of thing, okay? And as you go within, then you can become more vulnerable because you're more aware, okay, of what's true and that kind of thing, all right? And you might actually, I mean, this might actually literally be that you're working on getting to that point where you're conscious of your past lives and you're conscious of the Akashic records. Maybe you've had a near-death experience sometime recently, and things like that. I mean, or maybe you've had a near-death experience in the past, where you had a journey to the other side, and there's something about that experience that you need to remember, okay? We also have turtle spirit. Slow and steady wins the race, of course. That's, you know, that's a really sound message here with the turtle here. But I also think about the turtle as going within, you know, they carry their home on the, I kind of feel like a little bit of a nomad, you know, like there's some kind of movement here, okay? You're on your path, and this is part of your path. You're supposed to be going through whatever it is. So whatever the situation is, this is something that's important to you as you journey through your life, okay? And that would make sense with the Akashic Records, because that's talking about, you know, what kind of life path did you plan for yourself? And the turtle spirits, like, you know, the turtle has everything they need with them pretty much. That they've got their shelter with them and the protection with them, and they go within and all of that kind of stuff. So I kind of see it as like a traveling hermit kind of thing. So keep that in mind as well. And it just seems like, it really seems like this vulnerability needs to be addressed again. I feel like I need to give an example. So an example from my life is one time, kind of recently, I was having some problems. I have some mental illness, okay? And I'm the kind of person where it's severe enough that I need to take medicine for it. And I understand some of you guys are probably like, oh no, you don't have to. You know, I mean, I get that different people have different beliefs about that, but it's just, for me, I need to take medicine for it, and that's it. You know, that's what I've come to understand, and that's what I know to be true, okay? If I didn't, then I wouldn't be the person I need to be for my kids. So it's about responsibility. It's about, you know, I've got to do this, okay? But sometimes, you know, even though that I'm on medicine, I still have to manage everything, right? I still have to manage this day to day. It's not like the medicine makes it go away. Not at all. It just makes it possible to manage, okay? So when, sometimes I'll go through a time where I'm not sleeping as well. And it's like, there's, you know, I know sometimes people cannot get as much sleep, and then they're like kind of sleep deprived and they don't do as well, and all of that. And I'm not trying to compete with that at all. But it's like, for me, when I don't get my sleep, I just flat out can't function. It's like, I just can't. And I had gone several days in a row with just kind of getting sleep here and there and just not sleeping through the night, you know. Had some other personal stuff come out where I had, was having nightmares about a situation from my past that I was kind of forced to look at, and everything. And I reached the point in my relationship with somebody where I said, you know what? I'm not actually doing very well, you know. And this was somebody who I think tends to look at me as somebody who has it together, right? So it was really surprising for this person. I was like, you know what? I'm really not doing well. And by that, I mean, like, I probably haven't slept more than 4 hours at a time in the past week, you know, and then I showed them my Fitbit data here, showing my sleep stages and everything so that they could see, like, this, I'm not kidding, like, this is really going on. And I needed to be vulnerable so that they knew, they were clued in to what was going on in my life so that they could help support me with that, okay? So that's one version of how being vulnerable can serve to improve the situation. Another example, which is obvious that it comes from a love situation, is if you aren't able to admit that you have feelings for somebody, you know, at least eventually, then you're not going to be able to have that experience of even having the opportunity to have a relationship with that person. So that's another place where vulnerability can be really important, you know. And understand vulnerability isn't the same as weakness. It's not the same as being a victim either. It's not unwise to be vulnerable. Being vulnerable is admitting that you have these human elements, you know, so that your person can understand you better, okay? This is about being understood much more than it is about, you know, hey everybody, just so you know, I'm really weak right now, so now would be the time to get, you know, take advantage of me. It's not like that. It's about it's about opening up, okay? So if that's difficult for you to understand, just know that vulnerability also has to do with intimacy, okay? Because how vulnerable are we just thinking about physical intimacy when we're being physically intimate with somebody, you know? It's like that, okay, guys? Hopefully your messages make sense here. I really like your message, you know? Alrighty, so thank you so much for sticking to the end of my video. I know that this was a general reading. If you want a private reading with me, of course I offer that. You can go to my website or you can send me a message, okay? And those of you who might be like, ooh, I don't know if I can afford this, let me know, because I'm thinking about starting a new service starting in March, and we could maybe work out something that way, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind, guys. I love the feedback and the support. I love reading you guys' comments. It's so great. Some of you guys make me laugh so hard. Some of you guys give me some really great perspectives. And some of you guys give me some great ideas, like Pauline, for readings I need to do, you know? So if you want to suggest a reading, leave it in a comment or send me an email if you don't feel comfortable commenting in a more public place, of course. And I will see you tomorrow with the general reading for Monday, okay?